Hello, welcome to Feasting on the Word for this week. It's February the 14th, 2024. It's Valentine's Day and it is Ash Wednesday. And in conjunction with both, I've chosen a scripture which is, I believe, very fitting. It's a very familiar scripture that we're going to be hearing, but only a few short verses, which fits with this discipline of feasting on the Word. As the focus of feasting on the Word is taking a tiny little part of scripture and really investing ourselves with it, spending some time with it. How do we go about doing this? By hearing that scripture 4 times and only having silence between our hearing of that short passage of scripture. So in this case, we have a minute of silence following the first reading, a minute following the second, 3 minutes following the third reading, and then we conclude with the fourth and final reading. I use 4 different translations just as a way to kind of hear that same scripture a little different each time that we encounter it in this discipline. And the longer period of silence is intended as an opportunity after having heard that passage of scripture 3 times to turn to God in prayer with how this scripture is influencing us, impacting us, encouraging us, confusing us, whatever it might be. I've said before, it can be helpful to have something to write with and something to write on nearby. So as we come to that longer period of time, you've had a chance through the first few readings to write down some of your impressions, to then use that as the source for your prayer, to guide your prayers in that longer period of silence. Let's get into the discipline for this week. Our passage comes to us from 1 Corinthians, and it is chapter 13, verses 4 through 7, first from the New Revised Standard Version. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Our second reading of 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 13, verses 4 through 7 from the Message. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut, doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others, isn't always me first, doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel when others grovel, takes pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with anything, trusts God always, always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps going to the end. Our third reading of 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7 from the Contemporary English Version with our longer period of silence to follow. Love is patient and kind, never jealous, boastful, proud, or rude. Love isn't selfish or quick-tempered. It doesn't keep a record of wrongs that others do. Love rejoices in the truth, but not in evil. Love is always supportive, loyal, hopeful, and trusting. Our fourth and final reading of 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7 from the New International Version. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. This is the inspired word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.